Will be Christmas Day. And if you come this Saturday, Christmas Eve, you may have a surprise or two. So it's going to be at 6 o'clock this Saturday, Christmas Eve. This guy will show up, and I hope you will too. What a joyful song. I'm so glad. We had a different song planned for that particular spot, and that was awesome. That's called Divine Intervention. It's happening all the time. Isn't that great? I'm so moved. I'm so joyful. That totally filled me up, guys. Thank you so much for that song. So, this is the Advent Sunday of joy. The Advent is something, an Advent is something, like Leonard not talking during service would be the advent of silence. It would be a miracle, right? So that's Christmas. That's a Christmas miracle. Advent is something that happens that perhaps you weren't expecting, but perhaps it was prophesized. I'm still working on that prophecy. But there comes a time where it has to happen because of the evolution of human consciousness. The advent of the Christ in the form of Jesus had to be born into the world. Well, this is what I call the second advent, which is the advent of the Christ in you being born into the world. It's happening all over the world. But the important thing is that it's happening here, now, in you. The birth of the Christ in you is what we celebrate this Christmas. And it's a real thing. It's your enlightenment. It's your evolution. It's your illumination of mind. It's your awakening of your heart. It's your remembering of our oneness. It's your remembering who you are. And that's going to bring you more joy than anything else in the entire universe. Jesus clearly stated that He came here to bring us joy. He said, "These things I've spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and your joy might be full." Does that sound like somebody who's about to get crucified? No, He didn't care about that. You've spent 2,000 years worshiping the crucifixion. What the heck? He didn't come to focus on that stuff. He came to bring us joy. And He demonstrated joy. The joy of knowing who He was. That's why everybody was chasing Him around, trying to kill Him, because He knew He was one with God. He was the Son of God. And that makes us all sons and daughters of God. Each and every one. And that's just going to mess up your thought system. Because your thought system is based on separation and judgment. That some people are better than others, and some people are more deserving than others, or there's these special people here and there. It's not like that. The advent of the Christ, the coming of the Christ, had to happen because of the collective evolution of human consciousness. Wasn't there this one special guy who's going to be God, and the rest of you try to figure it out for yourselves. Whether you're going to heaven, whatever that is, or hell, whatever that, however you define that. Because everyone defines these things differently. What cannot be defined in you is God. That's the real thing. That's the real deal. Has no name, has no definition that you can wrap in a box and fit into your little limited separate thought system. So Jesus came actually to undo my thought system. My thought system of separation and judgment had to be undone. Now, you doing that for yourself, undoing your own thought system, is the second coming of the Christ. It's the coming of the Christ, or the birth of the Christ in you. Your innate divine nature, which has been given, talked about, shared by every spiritual teacher and master that's ever come along, has pointed to the divinity within you. Wow, Does that make me happy? That makes me so joyful because now I'm not depending on anyone else. It doesn't depend on anything out there. The level of our joy is a good indicator if we're living by spiritual principle. It's a good indicator if we're following the guidance of the Christ or the God within us. So this holiday season is as good a time as any to get in touch with our deepest joy. To let us know deep in our hearts and tell ourselves, that's enough. I'm here to be happy. I'm here to be joyful. I'm here to be free. You're going to give me all the reasons why I shouldn't be doing that. You're going to give me all the reasons why I should be sad and angry and fearful and judgmental and why I should dislike those people over here or hate these people over there. And I'm going to tell you, none of that has anything to do with me or God or reality. It will all pass. It all passes away. So don't give it energy in your mind, and it will pass away from you, and you will be left with your joy. Oh, that's what I'm looking for, right? But I was looking in the wrong places. Remember that old country song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places? That's what we've been doing. We've been looking out there for our joy. The source of our joy is where? We got some smart people here. It's within us. So we're going to let that be enough. We're going to get in touch with our deepest joy. Because that's what the world is looking for. That's what the world needs. That's what we need. That's what we need to heal ourselves from this false sense of separation. So what was Jesus telling us here? What are the things that he told us that our joy might remain? His joy will remain in us, and our joy will be full. What does it exactly mean to have your joy be full? I was thinking a lot about this the last couple of weeks. What does that really mean? What is making me joyful? What is making my joy full here? The joy that Jesus was talking about is the kind that comes only from knowing who you truly are, living in the truth of who you are, living in your experience of your spiritual identity, regardless of the situations or conditions around you. Because situations and conditions come and go. They always change. It's how I'm responding to it. It's what's going on within me that either creates joy within me or creates a sense of fear. Living in joy. That's our, isn't that great? That's really our purpose. Now there's a whole book. We did a book study, the Unity Book Club did a book study on the book of joy. And I went back and read a little more of it. And it was like I'd never read it before. It's one of those kind of books that you always find more in it. And it's a book by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And one of their primary teachings is that joy only comes from within. It'll never come from outer circumstances. However, when we get in touch with our joy, then it will affect everyone and everything around us. See, this is the whole key to it. It's not coming from out there, but when we experience it within, we experience it out there too. Because what's out here is a reflection of what's going on in me. Whatever you perceive as happening in the world is a reflection of what's going on in you. When you get those dark and judgmental and fearful reflections, change your mind. Decide what you want, because the choice is yours. Joy is a decision. Somebody just told me 5 minutes ago. Joy is a decision. Change your mind. Get in touch with your joy, and you will live in a joyful world. So, the Archbishop Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama, two of the most joyous people on the planet. But some say it's despite the hardships that they have endured. when I read the book, they said it's because of the hardships that they have endured. Getting exiled from your country, having to deal with apartheid and racism at a level that you never imagined, having people say all kinds of things, trying to stop you from expressing the God self that you are, loving, joyful, peaceful. What's wrong with all that stuff? It offends and it threatens the thought system of separation, attack, violence, and our addiction to war. It threatens all of that, and so they've endured a lot of hardships. But guess what? Those hardships, according to them in their book, have solidified their relationship with themselves and the identification with the divine source of love and joy. And they found the joy within. And of course, if you ever encounter any of their teachings or any their book or any of the videos that Joanne shared with us, the joy is palpable. It's flying off of them. And when people walk in here, that's one of the things they always tell me. Your folks are so friendly. Wow, they're so joyful. I feel something different when I come in here. I'm so welcome. It's because we don't care about who you are, where you've been, what your belief system is. Welcome home. You're with us now. I mean, you're in this space right here, right now. And the only thing to share right here and right now is the joy of meeting a new friend. Of knowing a part, I always say this, knowing a part of myself that I didn't know before. Because we're all one. You're a part of me. I'm discovering a part of myself. God is showing me a part of myself that I was previously unaware of. Isn't that incredible? The adventure continues. You know, I always wanted to play guitar like this guy over here. But, I was too busy doing other things. So the joyful aspect of this is that he gets to do it for me. And that's a part of myself, playing the guitar. Somebody said, I always wanted to play piano like Mozart. Well, just put on his music. You are playing it. Isn't it great? It's you. And everyone that's ever gone on before us, all the spiritual experience that they have had, every revelation of heart and mind, including Jesus Christ, the Buddha, and anybody else you want to mention, is in you. If it's in the human experience, it's in your experience. It's in your consciousness. Because it's a shared consciousness. We can't be here and not share everything. The only thing that cannot be shared is fear and anger and separation. Because separation is not true. We're not separate. We're one. So all the aspects of our false sense of separation, we try to share them. Most of our society is based on it. But guess what? It doesn't work. You end up coming back together and sharing who you are, sharing the love that you are. All that other stuff, you try to share your anger about one thing or your opinion about another, and guess what? It never goes anywhere. What do you just sit around being opinionated and angry? And you might have your little group of people that are all angry about the same thing. But pretty soon that thing that you're angry about doesn't even exist anymore. Think about it. Let it go. Really, today, right now, stick with joy. Those things that you were harboring, those grievances, anger, frustration, today's the day to let it go. Seriously. Once and for all, forever, let it go. It's so easy. People say, I can't, I don't know how to let it go. It's like this. It's that easy. Don't pick it back up again. But I have to pick it back up. I won't be able to change the slides. Watch me. When we get in touch with the joy within us, it will affect everything and everyone around us. Do you believe that? Yes. Absolutely. So what's the sense of being angry? Ever again. What's the sense of picking up your opinions again? There's no sense in it. It doesn't make sense. So we're going to discover more joy in the face of that suffering. We're going to discover more joy. Okay, to this guy, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. I love it. The Spirit of the living God is changing the slides for me. Listen, that's how the universe really works. We think we're controlling things, but it's not like that. We need each other. 100% we need each other. So, Archbishop Desmond Tutu says, discovering more joy does not, I'm sorry to say, save us from the inevitability of hardships and heartbreaks and suffering. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. And perhaps we're just more alive. Perhaps we're just feeling everything at the deepest level. Because when we feel the suffering, we heal the suffering. Can you hear that? When we feel the suffering, we heal the suffering. We're just more alive because we are being the change agent in this world. We are being the healers. We are truly being the Christ on earth. Christ is a principle. It's not a person. It's a principle within us that we can demonstrate our God nature. It's in everyone. And it's easy to get in touch with. You just got to drop everything else. You can't be the Christ and something else at the same time. Isn't that great? You drop that judgmental, hurtful, fearful nature that you've been representing. You're going to drop it anyway eventually. Some people don't drop it until their body drops. But it doesn't mean they've been happy doing it. Doesn't mean they've been joyful doing it. They hold those grievances to the last moment. Finally, you're going to let it go. Let it go now. Let it go now. Yeah. Doesn't that feel good? I feel much better. I feel so much lighter already. So I am discovering joy. You discover more joy. This is the rest of the quote. I'll start at the beginning. I'll read the whole thing. Discovering more joy does not, I'm sorry to say, save us from the inevitability of hardships and heartbreaks. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. Perhaps we are just more alive. Yet as we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that ennobles rather than embitters. We have hardships without becoming hard. We have heartbreak without being broken. Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So both of those beautiful, beautiful souls talk about the joy they feel when they experience the grace overcoming the hate. We often talk about that we need to love harder. We need to show love more. No, it's grace. It's the gracefulness of love that overcomes the hate. It's the standing in the face of it and being joyful and purposeful in your spiritual experience. Being kind, being purposefully kind in this world. That will bring you more joy than you can possibly imagine. The certainty that you have that joy is a constant state and can never, ever be entirely stripped from us, that the pain and the suffering are just temporary states. But the joy is constant and eternal. The joy of being immersed in the spirit of everlasting love in the face of oppression. This is what I learned from these two. They characterize joy actually as a spiritual practice. Get this, guys, not as a result of your spiritual practice, but the practice itself. Joy is a spiritual practice. To wake up with joy, to claim a blessing before you start your day and go out the door with joy, knowing that that's going to happen because you've set your intention on a joyful experience today. Why? Because it's coming from you. So you walk into the room, and I don't care if it's a room full of people who are sad and disgusted, you're going to bring joy to them. You are going to do it. You're the joy master. I'm talking to one right here. When you walk in the room, it just lights up. Think of that. It's like a Jedi mind trick. Right? You see somebody complaining and they're talking about this and that, and you just sit there and smile at them and go, it's a great day. Did you see the sun shining out there? And if they don't lighten up, you just go the other way. That's what I do. I just keep on moving. The adventure continues. And the adventure continues in joy. Now, I got to talk about this guy sitting over here just for a second, because I was doing a wedding in North Falmouth a few years back. And so the wedding was outside and all the music equipment was set up inside. And it was really far away, so there was no equipment. And so the singer and the guitar player come out, and this is the guitar player that I met, and he's got the biggest smile on his face. And I'm like, there's no equipment out here. He says, we'll make it work. And so I gave him my mic and a little tiny amplifier that I got in a yard sale for free. And look at all this equipment up here. Imagine him being just as joyful playing on a little amplifier that I got in a yard sale for free. And a microphone that barely worked. And they sang this beautiful song for the couple. And I felt all the joy coming off of them. They didn't complain about what wasn't working. What did they say? We'll make it work. It'll work. It's fine. It's no big deal. I mean, I was the one that says, you need a microphone. You need an amplifier. They didn't even care. They were going to sing for that couple no matter what. Because it was their wedding. And they were there to sing for the couple. They weren't there to complain about the sound system. So they were on their purpose. I want you guys to remember to be on your purpose wherever you go and whoever you're with. Remember why you're there. You're there to be the light of the world. If you find yourself complaining, if you find yourself angry, if you find yourself just out of place, stop. Ask yourself the question, is this bringing me joy right now? Am I happy doing this right in this moment? And then the question, why am I really here? What is my purpose for being right here, right now, in this place with you? It's to share my joy with you. And if I'm not doing that, maybe I need to go home and sit until I find my joy again. Maybe I need to get with my spiritual practice of finding my joy. Because as the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu said, it's not the result of your spiritual practice. It is your spiritual practice to bring that joy. It's not contingent on anything out there. Not situations or circumstances or money or relationships or social status or religious beliefs. None of that. That's all. It doesn't matter, the phone. Ask him if he's... Yeah, be careful. I'm about to answer it. Ask him if he's happy and joyful right now. All right. Now that's fine with me. Just remember why they're calling you. They're calling to receive a little joy. I love it. So it's not contingent on anything in the relative realm. Joy comes from within. Period. It's the absolute truth of you. It comes from living in the full awareness of love's presence, the reality of our oneness, and at the same time, giving aid to those who are trapped in the ugly effects of this false sense of separation. It is truly being the light of the world, being joyful. Now, the kind of joy Jesus was talking about is the joy of knowing who you are. You'd be jumping for joy when you find out who you truly are and who you know everyone else to be. See, this is the key. When you really, truly discover that the Christ is in you, in that moment, you know it's in everyone. You know it. And that's what you're looking for and what you're attempting to share with everyone is the Christ in them, the light in them. You're just looking for the light. You want to join with that. I can't join with anything else, and neither can you. Not really. That's what you want to join with. So, when Jesus was born into the world, as the story goes, he was named Emmanuel, which, being translated, means God with us. Or more precisely, God within us. If you go back to the Aramaic, that's a much closer translation. God within us. God is within us, within everyone. God within us. So that's what we're celebrating this Christmas. God within each and every one of us. And the joy of having the experience that God is in you. This experience cannot be surpassed by anything in the world. This is the joy that Jesus discovered and the joy he sought to give to us so that our joy might be full. So all I ask this Christmas season is for you guys to be happy, to be joyful, to feel that joy within, not coming from the outside, from outer circumstances. Just feel it within yourself now. And be that joy radiating in the world. Because that's who you truly are. And that's what I mean when I say be blessed, but remember always to be a blessing. I love you guys. Merry Christmas.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.